When I wore a younger man's clothes and had small children, I can remember gathering at folks' house for different events, either a birthday or a cookout, and it always seemed that the adults would gather like in the kitchen or out on the deck in one area, and then the children would be off playing in another room, usually supervised by a teenager or maybe one of the other adults, kind of watching over them. And inevitably, at some point during that event, you were going to hear a child cry. The child would start crying in the other room. But what always struck me about that was, in a room full of adults, the mother of that child always knew it was her child. Not all the adults went running out of the room. The mother of that child always knew her child was crying. And that's not to say that dads don't recognize their children's crying, but mothers seem to have a special knack for that. I mean, I guess it's one of them superpowers or something. But they seem to know their children's voice. They seem to know their children's cry. Dads usually, you see them too, they'll look across the room at the mom. Is that all right? Yeah. Should I be panicked? Should I go? But moms know. Moms just have a way of knowing. And they know because they have a special relationship with their child. They're the caretaker of that child, primarily. And they spend a lot of time with that child. So they have a tendency to know that child, know their cry. But not only do they know their cry, they can tell what that cry is. They know if a toy's been taken, or they can tell if they've fallen and hurt themselves, right? It's just, don't worry about that one. They'll be all right. And they don't even go, right? Because they know their child. And in today's scripture reading, we hear in the book of John that Jesus is telling people that I am the shepherd, and these are my sheep. And they know me, and I know them. And they have a special relationship with each other. They hear my voice, and they follow me. As Jesus said, he is the shepherd. He didn't say, I'm King Jesus. He didn't say, I'm the President Jesus. He didn't say, I'm the Mayor Jesus or the Commissioner. I'm not even the Superintendent of the Sunday School Jesus. I'm not the Deacon. I'm not the Reverend Jesus. I'm the Good Shepherd. A caretaker. A provider. A watchman. Someone who takes care of his sheep's needs and protects them and watches over them. Because that's what a shepherd does. And parents, much like a shepherd, watch over their children, right? Because they're vulnerable and they need that protection, especially when they're young. They need somebody to watch out for them and take care of them. But the shepherd, just like the parent, has that special relationship with his sheep. He knows their cry. He knows their laughter. He knows their weaknesses, their quirks, their good points, their bad points. He knows everything about them. If he's talking to a friend, he says, even though they all may look the same to you, they're different. Look over there, that one, see that one over there? He's got a toe that's kind of turned in like that, so he kind of walks a little bit funny. And you see that one behind him? He almost walks sideways. He's done it since birth. And he just I don't know if it's a balance thing or whatever. You see that one over there? He's got a patch missing a hair right on the back of his neck. And down over there with that dark eye, right, black patch right underneath his eye. And he's even got names for him. That's Patch, and that's Lippy, and that one's Tag, and he knows them. They're special to him. He has a special relationship with them. He provides for them. He takes care of them because that's what the Good Shepherd does. And Jesus tells us he's the Good Shepherd. And I think if we had an interview with him today, the Good Shepherd said, yeah, you look over there. You see that one? He is so good with his hands, and he builds this beautiful furniture, and he does such a good thing. And that one over there, that's such a beautiful voice. I just love to hear him sing it. And that one over there, that sheep, that sheep worries a lot, but I love it because she comes to me every day with her worries, and we just talk about it. And that sheep over there, spends time with me every day in prayer. I love that sheep. And that one over there just can't get from underneath my foot. Always wants to be close to me. Always wants to be close to me. And that one over there, well, he's a little bit nosy, but hey, he's good, he's good. And that one over there, he's got some health issues, but he's one of my favorite sheep. He just struggles along and keeps up. He knows their sheep. He said, yeah, I know, I got all the names from there, Ronnie and Elizabeth and Charles and Billy and Shirley and Corey. And he's got all kinds of names. He knows you because you're his sheep. He knows everything about you. He knows things you don't want him to know about you. But we wish we could keep secret. He knows you. You're his sheep. And that's what he's telling me. He said, I know my sheep. I know who they are. It's a close, intimate relationship. Most shepherds didn't have huge flocks. 100 sheep was a lot of sheep back then. Most shepherds had maybe a dozen, 2 dozen at the most sheep. So they knew him. He's letting them know this is a personal thing. I know these sheep. They're my friends. And they know me. You see, as important as it is that the shepherd knows his sheep, is that the sheep also know him. And it's difficult sometimes to know whether we know him or not. You know, we say we know him, but do we really know him? Sometimes it might be a little bit hard to tell. But you know, there was a story of 2 men who were in a class at university, and they were asked to both get up and read the 23rd Psalm. And the first one got up, and he had one of those perfect orator voice. You know, he was a master reader. He had that, was it James Earl Jones, that deep and he read the 23rd Psalm, and the class was just enthralled. He stood up and they cheered and they clapped. And that was the best thing they ever heard. They wanted him to do it again, do it again, do it again. So he read through it again, and they just stood up and they cheered. They thought that was the best thing. They had never heard it read quite like that. And the second guy got up and read the 23rd Psalm. And when he finished, there wasn't a sound. There wasn't a peep. If you looked across the room, you could see that people were in deep thought and devotion. Tears were coming down some people's face. At that point, the first gentleman stood up. He said, my friends, what you have seen today is 2 people reading the 23rd Psalm. And I can tell you that I know the 23rd Psalm. But this gentleman, he knows the shepherd. He knows what it's all about. You see, that's the difference between religion and relationship. We all know religion. There are many people who are religious. There are many people who show up at the appointed time, at the appointed place, right? They stand when they're supposed to stand. They kneel when they're supposed to kneel. They sit when they're supposed to sit. They know what to do. I often joke with Pam. I call it church aerobics. Up, down, up, down. I used to joke with Pam and say, you know, you don't know how powerful these palms are. I said, you know, when you do this, people stand. I do that. People sit down. Watch this. I can get them going up and down. So you don't know how powerful these palms are. But that's just religion, right? People know what to say, where to sit, where not to sit, what to sing, what not to sing, right? We know the words of the Lord's Prayer. We know the words to Amazing Grace, right? We even have code words we use. So those who are visiting may not know what we're talking about. We use words like Trinity and vestments, sanctuary, and, you know, stuff like that. They're just like doxology. What's that? So what's that mean? You have to come 4 times before we tell you. Yeah, it's a secret code word. But that's religion. That's stuff that we do on the outside. Relationship is about what's in here. Relationship is about what's in your heart, not what you do on the outside. It's easy at times to show up for church and sit for an hour, even though sometimes it's boring, I understand. I do the best I can, but you just have to get through it. You know there's going to be a waiting downstairs. It's going to get there. But that's religion. But what really is in play, what we're talking about, what Jesus is talking about, is having that relationship. That He knows you, and He wants you to know Him. Like a child. Like a child knows that parent. You know? Child knows that parent. Why? Because they need that parent. They need that parent to comfort them, to protect them, to provide for them. Right? Things they can't do for themselves. And what we need to realize is in reality, we can do very little for ourselves. That God's in control. And like the good shepherd, or like the parent, He waits on us. He looks after us. Not sometimes, not when He feels like it, not when He's not sleepy in the middle of the night. He looks after us all the time, 24/7. He's always there with you, looking out for you, making sure you're okay, comforting you when you need it, strengthening you for those days that are rough. It's a childlike thing. It's a father, child, shepherd, sheep. It's all the same. I'm reminded of the story of a boy who was waiting in the middle of the block, standing there, like he was waiting for something. And a man passed by and said, "Son, what are you waiting for?" He said, "I'm waiting for the bus." He said, "Son, if you want to get on the bus, you have to go to the corner." He said, "That's the bus stop right up there. You see where that bench is? That's where you need to be standing." He goes, "I'll stand right here. It'll stop for me." He said, "Son, I'm telling you, the bus doesn't stop here in the middle. It stops down there on the corner." Well, sure, the boy just stood there and said, "I'll stand here." A couple minutes later, here comes the bus. It stops in the middle of the bus, in the middle of the block, and the boy gets on the bus. And the man standing there speechless. Like, what in the world? And the boy turns around and said, "Mister, to be fair to you, I knew the bus would stop for me because the bus driver's my dad." You know, we have that kind of relationship. You know, when the bus driver's your dad, he'll stop in the middle of the block. If your parents, if your mom or dad was a senator, you wouldn't have to make an appointment, would you? You just walk right in. Why? Because it's a special relationship you have. And you have that same special relationship with God. When you accept Christ into your life, you become part of that royal family. You become one of God's special children. And you too have that kind of relationship. That kind of relationship that brings you into God's fold. Right? So this was a tough week this week, wasn't it? Some tough things happened this week. You know, we heard the story of the bombing in Boston, and there were some tragic deaths there. I think the one that probably stands out to me most is that 8-year-old boy. 8-year-old boy who was just waiting for his dad to cross the finish line. And that's sad. It's tragic, really. Almost beyond words. And I think it touched probably everybody in this room to some point. And our hearts broke for that family who had suffered so much. But you know, our relationship is different than that of the father of that boy. While we were sad from a distance, because we know many 8-year-old boys that probably could have been. That father lost his son. He lost his son. His wife is hanging on. It was in serious condition, last I heard. His daughter lost a leg. And although we mourn for that loss and for them from far away, we're not touched by that like that father is touched by that. Because our relationship is different. Our relationship is different. And his is up close and personal. It's a tough week. It's a week filled with sadness for the loss, for tragedy. What makes people do things like that? I wish I had that answer. I don't know. Maybe it's because there's just a little bit too much hate in the world. Maybe there's just a little bit too little respect for life. Maybe there's a little bit too much selfishness. Maybe we need to all be a little more like Christ. You know, he said, my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. If we're following Christ's footsteps, our lives are going to mirror what Christ would have us to be. There's going to be a little more love for our neighbor. There's going to be more love for people we don't even like. Maybe a little more understanding of the other side. Maybe a little more inclusiveness of those who sit on the fringe, who are outcast from society. A little more forgiveness. It would be a kinder world if we all follow Christ. If we follow in his footsteps. And maybe, just maybe, these terrible things wouldn't happen. It's a shame that we live in a world that's filled with such hate. That you would kill people just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. We need to do our part. We need to be the sheep. And we need to follow Christ. We need to fill our lives with love and with hope, with forgiveness, with inclusiveness. It's important. It's a broken world. It's a very broken world we live in. We're a broken people. No one's perfect. But God loved us each so much and wanted that relationship with us so much that he sent his son to die for us, to live amongst us, to suffer for us, to die for us. And he did that for relationship. He didn't do that for religion. You understand that? He didn't do that so you could show up and kneel and stand and sing. He did that for relationship. Now, while those other things can be an outward expression of what's in our heart, it's what's in our heart that is important. It's all about the relationship. It has absolutely nothing to do with religion.
Amen.
You understand that? It's all about relationship. Just as important as your relationship is to your wife, or to your mother, or your father, or your son, your aunt, your uncle, your friends and your family, your relationship with God is just as important. That mother knows that cry. Why? Because she has spent time with that child. She knows that child. Are you spending time with God? Do you come to him each week and pray? Each day? Each hour? Sometimes I got to do it several times a day just to get through the day. You know? But are we that close? Are we talking to God? Or is he that distant uncle that lives across the state? I call him once a year when I really need him or something. Is that who God is to you? He should be your best friend. He should be the one you talk to every day. The one you lay your problems at his feet. The one you count on to pick you up when you're down. The one who comforts you. The one that supports you, that strengthens you, that gives you hope for a better tomorrow. The one that inspires you to love others even when you don't want to. And that's tough. That's a tough job right there. But it's what we're called to do. Not just me. It's not just my job. It's each of our job. We're all sheep. We're all following Christ. And you should want to be at the front of that pack. You should be the one that nudges up against the shepherd all the time, knocking his feet down. You should want to be that close to God. I notice nobody sits up front, so they don't get close to me. But you should want to be that close to shepherd. One day I'm going to surprise you, I'm going to preach from the back. And everybody's going to be up front. But we should want to be that close. You know, when we hear that 23rd song, or when we say that 23rd song, it shouldn't come from here. We've heard it a million times. When we sing Amazing Grace, it shouldn't come from here. We should feel that here. Because when we feel that there, surely goodness and mercy will follow us all the days of our lives. But it needs to come from here. Not from here. Here. Not from here. We are the sheep. Do you know your shepherd? Do you know him like you need to? If you don't, today's a good day to start. Amen? Amen. Amen.